congratulations on this film. I've had a chance to sit down and watch it, and I loved it, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. It means a lot.
So tell us a little bit about where this film started for you. You're one of the screenwriters on the film as well. Tell us a little bit about where the idea and everything first started for you.
So the genesis of The Payday lies in the friendship between Kyla Fry, who plays the lead role, Jennifer, and myself. We met in 2010 at the Lyric Hammersmith Theatre in London. We were both doing different theatre shows, but we were chatting in between rehearsals, and we just really hit it off on old school crime caper movies and 90s movies, the likes of Money Train or White Men Can't Jump, Ocean's 11, Set It Off, Thomas Crown Affair. Those movies that have a bit of cheekiness to them, but also danger as well. And I guess that planted the seed, and we always hung out and we would meet and talk about what we were doing, what kind of roles we were playing, and there was a sense of, yeah, we're getting some good roles and we're doing this and we're doing that, but, you know, we want to play two of these kind of characters. And then we made a short film in 2015 together, very, very low budget. We shot it in a day, and then that got into some festivals, it did well, and then fast forward, we were still doing our thing, and we knew Sam Bradford, the director of The Payday, and eventually Sam came to us and said, you know what, I think we should do a feature film with these characters. So then we set the ball rolling, and we started creating what became The Payday.
What was it about those crime caper films that kind of really made you want to do one? Was there something about those kind of films that just made you want to make one day?
Yeah, I think it's obviously there's a little bit of nostalgia because if you grew up on certain kinds of movies, I think it's the combination of, for me, I like that element that they tend to, like I said, they have a cheekiness, but they still have a danger to them, which I really like. So rather being something very, very grey and grim and raw and dangerous, but on the other hand, you could go fluffy, light, super comedic, total levity, but with no real suspense. And so I like the way that genre tends to play in between both of those, so you kind of don't really know where you're going. And I also love that they have a sense of real style and artistry to them, right down to the visual look of the film, and also the soundtrack as well, which I'm very proud of. The Payday soundtrack by 222. It's got this jazz funk throwback feel to it, and I think a lot of those movies, like Out of Sight, for example, which was Soderbergh and Clooney's collaboration before Ocean's 11, you go back and watch that, and the music choices and the kind of the cues between scenes, and how it, one minute it's kind of a steamy erotic kind of movie, and then another minute it's just a ridiculous physical comedy kind of movie. So I like that dynamic.
Definitely. Being actors as well as screenwriters, did you and Kyla kind of flesh out the characters of George and Jennifer before you even put pen to paper, even before the short film?
Yeah, I guess we did do, like two good actors, we did do a bit of improvising around scenarios and ideas, and we did some visualizing of where the characters would come from and what they would be and how they met, and even fast forwarding later in life and places they would be and things like that. So it was a lot of riffing and playing around, and then a bit of rehearsal, and that was when we started to get the characters. And then once we got them on their feet and we did this short film, we started to get a hint of the chemistry between us, and then we leaned into that, and that was always there. And then so when it came to The Payday, it was all lined up nicely, and we'd learned more about each other in the interim, so it just kind of fitted like a glove in terms of performing with Kyla and the two characters.
We have a lot of young screenwriters and young film directors that listen to this show, and I'm sure some of them will find during their time they'll make a short film that people say should be stretched out to a feature. What was that process like, going back to the short film and then turning it into what we see now with the Payday?
Great question. I would say, and especially to any young or up-and-coming screenwriters or fresh screenwriters, is I think the key thing is don't stretch, because stretching means that you're going to be struggling to fill a feature film. So with us, what we did was we had the short film and we had those characters, which do have the same names as the characters in the Payday, but we built up the short film story organic to that particular plot, and knowing we had 8 minutes to tell it. Whereas with the Payday, we kind of did a mini reset on the characters and went back and reconstructed it, thinking of it as a feature film, and we threw out anything that wouldn't serve a 90-minute story. So don't be afraid to, yes, embody the energy and the vibe and the identity perhaps of your short film, but don't be afraid to throw stuff out, because it's always a process of evolution. And also, even then, when you start on a film, when you've written a film, and once you get on set and it's a team game and the film acquires an identity of itself and it pushes in directions. I just rewatched the film again the other night, and it's interesting because there was certain elements I thought, oh, that was way more comedic than I thought it was, or oh, that moment hits this way and I thought it was going to be more like this. So don't be afraid to just go with the flow and go where your instincts take you.
Definitely. And you mentioned that you knew the director, Sam. How did that relationship start, and how did you know that he was perfect for the Payday?
The relationship with Sam Bradford started from a friend of mine called Mark Rigby was making a short film, and he asked me to play a character in it. And Sam Bradford, I believe, was the cinematographer on that short, and he and his other crew partners were just knew exactly what they were doing, and they had this visual style that you don't often see with young filmmakers that was really stood out. It was classy. It felt like it had this Hollywood sheen to it. And so I always knew he was talented. And then when Kyler and I put together the short film from which the Payday came about, we actually sent the script to Sam Bradford, the director, and said, listen, we don't really know about directing or producing, but how easy would it be, do you think, to make this film? And we were just asking for advice, and then he said, well, I could tell you, or I could just bring my boys in and we could make it with you. So that's how that relationship started. So Sam Bradford directed the short, and then, we knew it was always going to be a three-way team for this one.
Now, of course, you had to cast other people around you both as well. How did that casting process go, or did you already have in mind some people for some of the roles?
We already had in mind some of the roles, because once you've been in the business for, say, 10, 11 years, like Kyler and I and Sam Bradford have been, you've worked with many people, and you get a feel for people in terms of performance. And I know me especially, I would see people in things and I would work with people in things, and sometimes I'd think, ooh, this person keeps getting cast in these kind of roles, but really I think they'd be great in this kind of role. So you're always building this notebook of people you A, want to work with and want to act opposite, and B, people that you feel like maybe haven't got a shot or haven't been let off the leash to do what they can do. So there was a large Vincent Jerome, for example, is a big example of, he's also a good friend of mine. He plays Big Al in the Payday, and we've known each other for about 10 years, and I've always known what he can do. And that role was, when I was putting it on, when I saw it on the page, I just knew it was Vincent Jerome's part, and and obviously he read it and he loved it and he wanted to do it. So it was a mix of both. And obviously other characters was a case of putting a call out or seeing people audition for it. And obviously some of the roles I didn't have final say on all the casting. It was a collaborative effort, and I'd throw in my 2 cents. So it was a mix.
One of the questions I wanted to ask before I go as well is the modern day feel to the film, the IT digital part to the film. So many filmmakers these days, when they make a crime heist, they still go back to the traditional money or jewels or something being stolen. Was that something that you both discussed as well, about wanting to make it more modern with that digital IT storyline coming into it?
Oh, good question. Let me think back to when we were coming up with the concept. I think it was a combination of, we wanted to take a throwback feel to the iconic movies like Italian Job, Ocean's 11, movies like that that had the jewels or had the physical riches or loot. So with this one, it was a case of we wanted to have that throwback feel, but we also wanted it to be organic to London in the modern day. And obviously, when people watch it, they'll see there's little themes about, there's certain things that have been in the news over the last years, such as, how, especially in Britain, how, with the financial crash years ago, with how, some people think bankers just ended up still getting their rewards and still getting their bonuses, or how, many people feel like, local councils are just making profit from charging people parking fines, or even MPs' expenses, that scandal. So we like this idea of nodding to some of the frustrating things that people in Britain had found annoying in recent years and felt like it wasn't fair. And then using digital information, it's a very easy way to encapsulate that. And also, it is the modern world, isn't it, that value is often in information now rather than physical riches, although it's still both. But maybe we'll do gold bars in the sequel.
Definitely. Now it seems like you've got a great relationship with Kyla as well. What was it about her when you first met her that made you think, I need to work with this lady?
Oh, great question, and I hope she's listening. I think it's just it's one of the indescribable je ne sais quoi chemistry that you just feel when you meet someone. You're like, oh, I feel a trust with you, and we just had a good laugh, and we connected on taste in terms of music and movies, and just her approach to the craft of acting and the business. And it wasn't like, we didn't meet and I was thinking, oh my God, so in 5 years we're going to be doing a short together, and in 10 years we're going to be doing a feature film together. It was more of a case of, we met, it was really cool, and then we just gravitated towards each other as the years went on. And as anyone who's, well, I suppose in any profession really, when you've started a new profession, or I know me, because I'd obviously moved to London from the north of England near Liverpool, and you gravitate towards people that that you want to spend time with and give you support, and you exchange ideas and exchange, energy and inspiration, I suppose. So it was a combination of all that. And then as we knew each other for longer, we just aligned more and more.
Awesome. Well, mate, to finish off, what would you like to say to people out there who are about to sit down and watch The Payday for the first time?
Oh, another great question. I would say, if you can, get either your significant other or a few friends in and sit them down on the couch and all watch it together. There's definitely a rom-com romance element to it, as well as some good laughs, hopefully. So I think it's good to have a little crowd, or be watching it as a couple. And yeah, just put the lights low, put the volume up, kick back, and just enjoy it.